Well, hello everyone. This is William here with Tao Eternally, and we're starting another conversation. And today's conversation is going to be about our future, creating our future. What's in our future? What do we see? What do we want to create? This was based on a conversation that Randy brought up with me over a different issue, and it just twigged something in me. And I said, this would be a great conversation to have in our group call. So I just said, why don't we focus on that? So here we are, and that's what we're doing. So we're a small group tonight, but we are definitely welcoming Benjamin and Randy, and I think Lee as well, back there somewhere. And welcome, gentlemen. How you doing?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. We are doing good.
Excellent, excellent. So today's subject, as I mentioned, is about what future would you like to create? Are either of you feeling inspired in the moment to start the conversation?
Sure, I can get going.
All right, Randy.
It's interesting. I go back to some early days of studying and reading when I think about a topic that broad, and some authors that I had as favorites back in the day. And one of them that comes to mind when you say that, and the word that comes to mind is certain, and that is from a book by Wallace Wattles, and it's called, or one book was The Science of Getting Rich, and the other one is The Science of Being Great. Just fantastic books, written in the early 1900s. If you ever want to look them up, they're just beautiful and simplistic. It's kind of like going back to the Kybalion and the Trismegistus kind of stuff, and I always say that wrong. But I think it's not so much what I want to see, but what I know. Because that's where the word certain comes in. There's a certain way of creation, a certain way of creating things. And when I think of that word certain, it's got dual meaning, right? So a certain way as in a particular way, but a certain way as in knowing rather than thinking and feeling. And I know, and I say it quite often, that everything is perfect moving towards completion. And everything that I allow into my reality from the outer certifies that. It just, I don't allow anything in that is doubtful, and if I do, it's just a fleeting second and away I go. Like, okay, what else you got? Like, let's see something that resonates and reverberates and vibrates with what I think, like that thing. Because I just think that everything is perfect, and we get caught as human beings into human narratives, and whether they be outer human narratives or our own that we're creating on our own as we go along, it's the same thing. It's a narrative. I was out at my granddaughter's 4th birthday party yesterday, William. You're aware of that. And, just watching the eyes on a child that age, knowing that she's starting to adhere to a few human constructs, but most of what she's thinking about is just from within. It's just sheer creation. Whether she's looking at the unicorn that I brought her for her birthday present, or the chicken out in the chicken coop. She's on the farm, so she's kind of got that benefit of the outdoors like I did and do. And I just thrive on that, like that creativity in the childlike form that is knowing that everything is beautiful, and that the only thing that's not is if mom says no. That's the only time that everything isn't perfect to her. And it's just, that's the kind of childlike attitude that I guess cultivate in my own mind, and cultivate in myself. So I know that everything is perfect moving towards completion. And because of my authentic experience in the banking industry, I'll just add a little bit just so that it kind of floats back into the 3D a little bit from my childlike attitude. But, I always like to say, see, instead of so or things like that, because you do know, and I know that everything is perfect, and that this situation that we have on our hands right now is definitely, definitely a transition into a more compassionate, equal, harmonic resonance with Mother Nature and with all, which is God in my mind, God being all that's good and all that's bad. You know, it's just such a perfect thing that's unfolding, and I love to watch it. And there's a few little things on the 3D side that I'd like to mention because of my banking experience and my, that being my business on top of my, attitude and my lackadaisical kind of comeuppance. It's just so neat to see 50 years of work, okay, ever since JFK, okay, that was kind of the start of this whole process that's unfolding now, to move back to something asset backed, because that's what JFK basically wanted to do, was move back to some kind of an asset backed funding structure, okay? And I like that word funding over financial. That's my choice. But it's moving into that idea of a debtless society or a creative credit society. And everything that I see in my reality is pointing towards that. From every mentor I've had, from every instructor, every associate I've had in the banking industry, and there are dozens of them, brother. And Benjamin Mensa is one of many, but that can back me up on this, that I am attached to dozens of men and a few women too, but it's mostly men in the banking industry. And every one of them, when I listen for that moment of what's happening, what's really happening, it's the same thing. We are moving back to asset-backed funding. And when I say funding, it means that there's no limit to the asset-backed side of this banking industry. And then once that funding starts to flow through, whether it be through some kind of administrative process for comfort income to the average human being, which is going to happen and is happening, and project funding to get us past the suppression that was happening based on the other system that just couldn't pull its head out of its ass because these governments were not willing to administer the abundance and the basically unlimited supply that they had available to them in the other monetary creation system. So, and if they come back into the game, great, you're welcome too. But no matter what, it's moving to that abundance and to that place of no limits anymore, no corporate limits, okay, no limited anything. It's just going to be abundance. And how that rolls out exactly, I'm not quite sure, but I know that peace, harmony, love, abundance, and freedom for everyone and everything every day is on its way. Abundance, sovereignty, health, love, and euphoria, because I've said it for over a year, every day, dozens of times. So I know that that's what's happening. So there's our start. How's that?
And we know it's on your mind because you say it's on your mind.
That's
and
right.
You say it every day. And I thank you for saying it every day and for holding that space. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, in honor of your most recent video and in honor of Ida's Happy Hat, I started the recording with this neck warmer, which you are wearing right now in red, Randy. I noticed it had the same brand name on it, and I thought, well, you know what? If Randy put it on his head to represent Governmind, I'm going to start it as well, and then take it off and replace it with the white hat, because, the white hat is the way to go. So there you go. And we've been joined by Lee, and Benjamin's having a good time over there. Would either of you gentlemen like to speak about what you see in our future and adding to, or just jumping in with what Randy had to say?
I've got my white hat on, look. There's actually a little bit of grey in there now, but it's okay. No, at the moment, I mean, there's this transitional period, and it's this it's how we go from one point to another point, and that's where we're at. So for me, I'd like to go to the point after this point, but that point is a little bit further in the future. So we need to get through this point first. And it's the sovereign, well, as I said to Randy the other day, actually seeing the amount of gold that's been, let's say, unearthed, for want of a better word. It's almost unlimited anyway. So where we're sort of meeting is this case of unlimited money, which leads to a society where there is unlimited funding, which leads to everybody has unlimited amounts of money, which leads then to what's the point of money? Which then progresses us one step further, because let's be fair, money is a form of barter. You're paying something for something because somebody else can do it for you. Well, once we have enough money, once that's unlimited and unhinged and not scarce and hard to find, then inevitably evolution will say, well, if everybody's got this, we don't fucking need this. And that's where I am. So when the point gets to the point where we don't need that tender, we just do it through love and through heart, and because I want to, not because I have to. I'm an artist. I don't want to sell my works. I want to give it to you because it fills me with joy for you to enjoy my work, not reimburse me because I need to survive in this shit system. Then we can start to look forward. Then we can start to put a community back together again. And then we can embrace technology. Then we can embrace the history, as long as it's true. Until those shackles are released, the shackles of slavery, the shackles of disparity, the shackles of you failed, I won, the shackles of blame, the shackles of all of these things, which are all constructs. They're all constructs. So when we're going back to what was, which is a good idea, by the way, but then we can, rather than expand on what was and go and devolve, which is where we've gone, we can then evolve, which is where we need to be. And so I don't see this point as a time where we're moving forward. I see it as a time where we're going to compress backwards and contract back into a previous self, a previous time, and then evolve from that rather than devolve from that, which is where we went. So it's going back to a basic. What do we actually want? And if we remove money from that system and remove all these other things from that system, slowly over time, however that happens, it doesn't matter now. I was a little bit outspoken about that a little bit earlier. It is what it is. Whichever way it goes to, it gets to the same route. It used to say all roads lead to Rome, but I'm not so fucking sure anymore, because they've all got little blocks on them because you can't get in there anymore. I'll leave it at that for now. But that's my fun. That's my child. That's my little excitement. That's my anticipation of, my kids coming out and going, right, now we can live. Now we can experience. Now we can love. Now we can have happiness. Now we can have joy together, all of us. Which was always missing before. It was always disconnected by, he's got this parents, he's got that, he's doing this and he's doing that, and they're going to get this and they're going to get that, and you're a failure, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, please. So all of this comes down to this melting pot where we are right now, and it's the compression and the chaotic energy, or the squeezing of energy. Let's be fair, we've all been indoctrinated to think that fuel comes from fossilized fucking dinosaurs or whatever, and it's created, or diamonds are created through extreme pressure and heat. Well, that's exactly where society is right now, and it's being squeezed for that creation moment. And this is what we're anticipating, right? This is our expect, and this is the bit where it says, come on, when are we going to start to create, not destruct? When's that going to happen? And this is what we're waiting for. This is what we're waiting for. And this is the patience level where we can understand that this has been ongoing for an awful long time. I'm not going to put it into years, but an awful long time of this destruction, non-creation, or at this point of compression into this creation again. And that's got to be exciting, man, to us all, right? It's not just me, I'm sure, because we've all got smiles and we've all got eyes that are lit up, and we've got these little children coming like, "Hey, we are those little 4-year-old, my friend. We are these guys, right, on the inside." It's just we're masked on the outside by all of the societal constraints and structures. Well, fuck them. Fuck them all. That's where we're going. Fuck them all. Now
Thank you, Lee.
And we're already creating, Lee. That's the thing. We're not waiting for creation. Fuck them all. We're creating now.
And that's why we're excited, brother. And that's because we've actually connected back to something that is creative, not destructive. Yeah, I talk about destroying the old system and starting the new. Well, there is reasons behind that, and that's through experience. But it's not destroying. It's, as I said to you the other day, it's taking away imbalance and balancing it up. So we can look at it as destruction, or we can look at it as balance. And that's what I want to do, is not destroy, no, remove superfluous containment structures. There you go. Superfluous containment structures that are not beneficial. And if they need to be burned down, but I know that goes slightly against your premise, but we're both on the same path, you know. It doesn't really matter which way we look at it. Yes, we catch each other. Yes, I've learned to change my tact slightly on this, but I still see that there's some things that are man-made superficial containment structures that do not need to be there. But we'll see, won't we, when we come forward through this, and we'll see how the visionaries and the new creators and all of us are creators. Let's not be fair. New creators is bullshit terminology, but as we come together and start to create as a whole again, which is where we should be, which of those structures remain or wither and die?
I wanted to jump in, Lee, and say that the visual of the compression that you were talking about, that we're getting squeezed. I've heard the word juice before as an expression of something that's vibrant and tangy and juicy and, you know, just rich. And it's been expressed as well. I've heard it in the past. They say, "Bring on the juice, baby! Bring on the juice!" And so that's kind of what I was getting from when you said we're getting squeezed. And I'm going, "Bring on the juice! Bring on the juice!" So awesome. Thank you. Benjamin, I'm going to throw the ball to you. What are you seeing? What kind of future would you like to create?
Okay. So I would say in 2021, what we are seeing, like I said the other time, is that when you look at it, the energy that we see is like the S shape, the 5. So and we are undergoing a lot of changes. Like we are, as at this stage, going through a lot of birth pains. You know, the earth and its people are going through the birth pains. And like a woman, when a woman conceives, and after 9 months or during the stage of the pregnancy, the woman undergoes various kinds of, you know, stresses. The body, you know, undergoes a lot of changes. It expands, and then comes the time of birth, and that is the painful aspect. And
Labor.
you need to push. You need to do a lot of labor, and that is what we are all doing now. And Lee said it in a way. He said that the diamond undergoes. It's a carbon. When you take, it's a normal. When you take the lead of a pencil, the carbon structure is the same. Okay, but what has happened with the diamond is that it has allowed itself to undergo a high form of pressure and heat, and therefore the crystalline structure in the, what do you call it, or the atomic structure within the diamond have changed, or the carbon have changed, and therefore it is precious now. Now we are all undergoing through all this pressure, and you can feel it globally all over the place. But what I see, or what I want to create, or what I'm foreseeing in the near future, is that we will not be demarcated by barriers and, boundaries. And I was reading some time ago, about 20 years ago, I was reading a book, and the book says uh, the person was prognosticating, and he was saying that in about 50 years to come, which I think is even less than that, when you ask an inhabitant of the earth or an inhabitant of another country, this book was suggesting that maybe we'll have alien visitation or people from other planets visiting us. And so when we also travel there or they come here, the exchanges during our conversation, when we dialogue, we say we are from the people from the earth. And I remember one of the astronauts who went to space recently said, when you are over there, what you see is that you see the earth as one, one place. But when you draw closer, then you see that we have created our own artificial, boundaries and created our own limitations here and there. And I think with these energies that are, flowing through the earth, what is doing is some of these artificial barriers are being, wiped away, and we are becoming more or less one, united with one effort. And it will surprise you that many people outside the US are more interested in what is happening in the US now, because they feel that, when America is liberated, the rest of the world is also liberated in a way. Okay. So what I also see is that the economies of the nations are being shaken. And I always joke with Randy that the bankers are, what do you call it, are struggling because of the changes that are coming. And the changes that are coming, takes away, the old form of banking system, which means we can, issue money without having money, or they create the money. Okay. But with cryptocurrencies and all this that are coming, you have to have something in your, what do you call it, before it's circulated in a way. So this kind of monopoly, or the games that the bankers have played with us over the years, is going to be eroded away, and things are also going to change. And on the health avenue, what I see is people are becoming more aware, like myself. I'm becoming more or less aware of what I put in my body. And so it therefore presupposes that I must also take care of the earth. What is poured in it, what is, put in it in terms of chemicals, in terms of how, things are grown, whether organic or, not organic. And I'm becoming more or less, what do you call it, conscious of all these things. So, and I share the same thing with people. And so medically speaking, I also, like to see this transference in the area of the medical industry, where all these things are happening now. Many people are also afraid with the vaccines that are, the side effects and all this, and then it's creating a kind of awareness, which, like I suggested, I was, what do you call it, telling you guys the other day that I listened to a radio station, and out of the 25 people who called in to suggest whether they would take, about only one person said that he will allow himself to be injected even under a condition. But the rest said flatly, no, we are not taking it. We are already healthy, and you have to eat good, you have to, take in fresh air, and then live, within your, what do you call it, means, and try not to contact these things, and use our local food, eat well, and then the body have its own mechanism to. And I was like, wow. So people are getting to know all these things and are willing to, change. So these are things that are coming into our space or our earth atmosphere, and people know all these things. And when it comes to transportation also, I think we are getting into, we'll be seeing more, faster means of traveling. And if I'm not, overstating it, we may be able to, travel, we may be teleported, travel by means of teleportation. And these technologies are there, or you see it in movies. And I was, searching for patents online, and I found that the technologies exist. So people will be traveling, and it therefore means that I can be talking with you, and the next moment you see me, somewhere. And it therefore also means that fossil fuels, like a book that I read, I've forgotten the other, the one who authored it, if I remember. He said, leave the minerals in the ground. All that we need has been already been given, and therefore we wouldn't be, digging fossil fuel. We will need it for other things. So these are my thoughts, for the future. And by so doing, maybe we will see a more cleaner, healthy earth, and will not be, cutting a lot of trees and, polluting the atmosphere with a lot of waste. So that is my take.
Beautiful,
Benjamin.
Benjamin. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Can I just jump in on the back of that, and I'll just add some more to that, because if we consider the fossil fuels and the the mining and the quarrying of the mineral supplies of Earth, Gaia, whatever you want to call it, as a means to create profit, well, realistically, how many of us want to create profit? We don't. We want to create harmony. So what we've been led into is this idea that profit is all the only way. And I think economy and commerce and trade in the future are going to be terms that are, let's say, old-fashioned, and will be used as a memory to the children in the new schools as what they used to do, as we're looked at as Neanderthals, whilst destroying the earth for profit, when we can actually basically manifest and replicate anything we want out of photonic air, but or plasmatic energy. But the people that needed the profit can't do that because they're not able to, they're not source connected, right? So they haven't got that creation. They need the mineral mining. And who do they use for that? Us. And who do they use then to create their product for them? Us. From the minerals that they told us we needed to mine for them when we don't need to. And this is the other thing, coming back to another thing about energies coming forward, is I was talking to Randy the other night about new fuel cells and stuff. And I pointed out that, and this is no slight on Randy at all, or nothing more than ELFs, extremely low frequencies, are one of the most damaging things to the harmonic body that is out there. And they need to be removed pretty quickly, because otherwise we can talk about poisons in the air, the food and the water, but we're not talking about poisons in the ether. And the poisons in the ether are the things that are poisoning our spirit on the inside. The body is getting poisoned, but also the spiritual aspect, or the vibrational harmonic aspect of us. So and bearing in mind, Tesla, not just Tesla, I mean, Tesla remembered the ancient ideas of how to use energies of the universe, right? So this should have been in 120 years ago. This will be in now. So one of the first things we need is energy that is free and is actually non-pollutant, and that will kickstart the rest of it. Yes, you've got the med beds. Yes, you've got the other stuff coming out. Yes, we'll have the monetary supply, and again, when I look at it, it's The one doesn't work without the rest. We can try and transpose one in and they say, we hope the rest come on. But if we're trying to do it as a creative construct, it's a foundation to the building that we're trying to create. The foundation is unshackle. It's not leave a few shackles in and we'll see what happens when we get to the roof, whether we can take that fucking shackle off then. No. Let's set the foundation up without those shackles and then see what we can create. So yeah, I see a lot of this happening, and I see it happening very, very quickly once we start to stop the division. And once we start this, once this compression's released, then there's more unity, right? And this is why, in my opinion, there's too many people on the planet. It's not because there's too many people. It's because they can't fucking control the creative nature of that many people. And, and that many people are asking that many questions. They can't keep telling us lies and keep controlling and quelling. So they need it down to a number where they can control. So now we're at a point where there is that much creation and that much unity and that much wanting to go back to a community, even if people don't know it. They're programmed hate in their heads, but love in their hearts. And I guarantee you, I don't care. I talk to 100 people, 95 of them will want love in their hearts, given the option. But they don't know they have an option. And this is the beauty of where we are. This gives the option. But that, I'll stand back.
All right, Lee, thank you. Thank you. Actually, well, Randy, do you know what, you must have seen how a 4-year-old is like, or even a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old, when they're really, really excited about wanting to share something and they just don't quite have the opportunity, or they have to go to the bathroom and they just can't go right now because something going on. That's kind of like what I'm feeling right now. I'm kind of going, I want to share. I want lots to talk about. So I want to take a little bit from everyone's conversation and basically just add on it as well. And I'm going to start first of all with a confession. I grew up in the Catholic faith, and you know, confession was pretty big back then. So I have a confession in that up until we closed the doors for COVID-19 back in March in North America, at least, I was of the mindset that I needed to make a living. And I was of that mindset for a good solid 35 plus years. It was sort of like, I've got to make a living. I've got to keep doing this. I've got to keep going. I'm getting older and I don't have a retirement. I have no money. I got to keep, you know, there was this constant thing of, if I don't keep working, I'm in deep shit. You know, I'm in deep trouble. And partway through the last 9 months, as I was awakening to the new concept of what we could really generate and create with no restrictions on us, that we've created and had other people put upon us. What would that look like? And also what I noticed about that old way of thinking, you know, that sort of that thing I was confessing about, that old mentality, I started to realize that old mentality will not exist in this new reality. And then I realized, well, what the heck, what would I do? Like, I've been focused only on myself for the most part, only doing stuff, you know, to make money, to put in my pocket. I'm not a kind of person that's for material things or getting rich for the sake of having a lot of trinkets and toys and things like that. But I was interested in having money for security reasons, because that's what I believed at the time. But now it's like, so that if that goes away, who am I? Like, what will I do? And I realized that there was this gap of, you know, like, I've really left other people out of my life, and I really saw just how much I protected my life and was insular within my own life. And when I started to hear, like, I started following people like Jared Rand, for example, as well, and he's got a lot of incredible ideas, many of which I'm going to share. But I'm just going to say that I'm taking Lee's compression to create the juice. I'm taking Randy's youthful exuberance that he was talking about with his 4-year-old, and what we can generate and create, and how that we can create that excitement in our lives, because we are creating from you know, a whole brand new concept, a brand new reality. And taking Benjamin's the labor concept as well, as we're birthing something brand new, and to me that's also exciting. And I don't know if Benjamin, if you heard of the term Ubuntu, but I know it's an African term.
Ubuntu, yeah, it's community together.
I've been told it's been called contributionism, which is like
Contribution. Yeah.
where it's sort of very similar to what our concept is, you know, together as one. It's sort of like we're working together. I remember just hearing a story just earlier this week, I think, where there was a bunch of children. I believe this was actually in Africa too, and they said they had the kids all grouped up, and then in a tree far away there was some treats, some candies or something that the kids would love. And the people who ran the contest basically said the first one that gets there gets to get the treat and enjoy the treat for themselves. And so what the kids did is they all grabbed hands and they ran together to the tree, and then they shared the treats together. And that was an awesome story, and I just completely loved that. And I think they were even asked why they did it that way, and they said because then we could all share in what we've achieved. And I really feel that that's something that we can really create going forward. Just some of the things Lee touched upon an idea, Benjamin touched upon an idea that I've heard and am starting to really see and believe, but I've got a few more to add to that. So Lee talked about free energy, how we can all basically have free energy in our own space that I've heard can come in the size of like a shoebox. Yes. That basically can power your own space with unlimited power. Really, you could have all kinds of stuff just inside your own space, and could power one box. Apparently, could power even a whole block. You know, and
do you want to see the patent?
Pardon me?
Do you want to see the patent? I can show you the patent for it.
You can go dig it up while I'm calling up some of these other ideas too, because I don't share these ideas, but I'll give you a little project on the sideline. The idea of traveling at basically I don't know where to start with this one, but yeah, the way it was described to me again just this week, I heard it said that we could literally go anywhere in the world in less than 15 minutes. And you know, planes would become obsolete. The vehicles would become obsolete. You wouldn't need to have, you know, burn the fossil fuel inside cars anymore. And that whole industry would be obsolete. And we would be stopping pollution. We would be creating, and I love that concept, Benjamin, when you're talking about the message about not taking anything more from the earth, because we've taken everything, we've taken a lot already, basically. And so why don't we use what we've already taken from the earth, because it's still, a lot of it's still here, certainly for gold, right, Randy? I mean, we got a lot of that stored up. Yeah. So, you know, the idea of being able to go anywhere, and you wouldn't have to have passports, and you wouldn't have to go through, you know, the radiation detection of your body to see if you've got, you know, metals or weird shit, you know, stuck up someplace where people shouldn't be looking, you know, just that kind of stuff. It's like all of that can go away, and that gets me super pumped up. It gets me super excited when I start thinking about that. And I love that idea, and being able to travel inside of even your own city, your own community. I'd be curious to see what kind of devices and inventions we'll create. Probably something anti-gravity related, so that we can fly or hover to different locations. That would be a lot of fun. I asked Jared about something he talked about. It was called the BRR. I don't know what it stands for. I don't remember what it stands for, but basically, to me, it's like a genie in a bottle. It's like you can create whatever it is you want to create. It's almost like if you've ever seen the Star Trek shows where, I forgot the name of it now, but they basically, you can create meals or food just by ordering it up, and it just appears, and it's perfect, and it's perfectly cooked, and it's, you know, if it's cooked or it's raw, you know, and it's not you know, the nasty stuff, the genetically modified stuff. It's natural, it's rich, it's got all its essential nutrients, and then some, because we've lost a lot of nutrients in our food because of all nasty things we've done to our soils. So the BRR idea is like I was talking to him about creating a building where, like, so that I could run all of the volleyball games for my adult teams that want to play volleyball. And he said, yeah, you create it in your mind exactly the way you want it. And with the concept of like 3D printing, except on steroids, it would just be going a heck of a lot faster, and you could produce many huge things. He said, yeah, you could create a building on a space of land in less than a day, and it being even more efficient than anything that's ever been built, because all of the water systems and the the bathrooms you deal with all of the waste and all of that kind of thing in a very efficient way. And you could avoid the things like having to get all those permits and all those other things that you would need to get, construction workers, mortgages, all that kind of stuff. Replicators was the name of that device that can create food. And not only can replicators create food for you, but it can now actually take away any of the waste as well, like your plates and things like that. You wouldn't have to do the dishes anymore. I mean, that would be awesome.
Any waste products turned back into plasmatic energy. So basically, I mean, if you think about the everything that's material here is photonic plasmatic energy, and therefore you have a replicator with a ability to create anything that's here or in your mind in real time. And when you don't want it anymore, it goes back in and it returns to the whole. There is no waste. And this is where we should have been. This is what Gene Roddenberry was talking about in Star Trek, man. This is the same things. So we were shown it. And what we said was, that's fiction. That'd be nice in the future. And they said, well, you'll have it in the future then. You won't have it now. And so this, I believe this stuff's been around for an awful long time. These guys did not come up with this as a whim. They come up with it as a working project, and they showed us it, and we said, oh, we believe that that's fiction because you're telling us it's fiction. So we can't have it, but we might do in the future if you let us. No, not anymore. No. Sorry. But yes, you bang on. You bang on.
That's perfect. I mean, and a lot of people could probably see this video and say, this guy's lost his mind. I mean, come on. I mean, how is that even possible? But at the same time, there's been, from other research and things that I've been doing, and I'm sure all of you guys have too, is that there's been so much repressed. We think we're an advanced society, but there's been so much hidden from us that we aren't even aware of, that if we became in touch with, would realize just how much we have been dumbed down as a society, as a race. And so just being able to uncover all of that, just to be able to uncover it is exciting, but to start integrating is like through the roof. That's just incredibly awesome.
I think it's fascinating how we've all jumped on board Darwin's evolution, even though it was bullshit, and yet never actually factored in the fact that we've devolved, not evolved. And yet we all cling on to evolution as a fucking base product, like gravity and all this rest of it. And who was he? It was just another narrative to mean that we are individual and exceptional and a complete anomaly to the rest of the universe. And this is who you are, nothing more than this. And we've clung on to that idea rather than the devolution idea. What were we? We were monkeys, and no, we were much more long time ago. We've devolved to this level, man. We are not evolved. Sorry, Benjamin.
William, talking about what you said about being able to create things from the thin air. When there was a TV program some time ago, that was somewhere in the 80s. The Girl from Tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And they could travel transdimensionally. They had a cube box and they sit in, and then depending on which place you want to go, which year you want to go. If you want to go to 1983, it can take you there. If you want to go fast forward into the future to see, you can go.
Time travel.
Time travel. So they got to one place where there was no water, and the lady Alana, the small girl, could synthesize water from the atmosphere, and the people, couldn't believe, And when she was in our time, um, she went to the bathroom and she didn't know what to do. Because in the other dimension, she said bath, a wash, and then all the dirt is scraped off without water. And she felt refreshed, and then the dress is a wash, and then all the dirt is taken away. But in our dimension, Alana have to open the tap, it flows. Though she was enjoying it, at first she was, at sea. She didn't know what to do. And then the Alana dress was dirty, and she went and then put it in what do you call it, the microwave. And the whole house, started smoking. So talking of, interesting concepts, we are getting there gradually. And I think the more we, look at things, properly, and then, accept it, not waiting for tomorrow, we accept it as a possibility now, we can create it. But if we say, okay, maybe in the future you see it as fiction, then it will remain a fiction. But if we accept it as a reality, like we are seeing it now, it's a possibility to, travel in minutes. And I know these technologies exist, And I know this technologies exist because I've been reading and researching about these things also. And I know that it exists in our time, and some people are using it, but only for some few, people, privileged people. But it must come to the fore for others also to benefit. Like if you watch the movie Jupiter Rising, you see that the guy was wounded, and when he was wounded in the movie, he brought a form of spray, and I just sprayed it on the wound, and then the what do you call it? The third body came together. I said, "Where did you get this thing from?" He said, "From the other dimension." He said, when are we going? He said, "Your dimension. You people are always postponing things and then shifting things, so it's not possible now. But if we can accept it, as a possibility that these things are, there, and we can achieve it, we can do a lot. We can do a lot, and then we can go, beyond, our wildest imagination. So that's what I see coming, and it's a possibility."
No, it's
Benjamin, thank you. I
Mhm.
see Randy there, and we had just out of nowhere, Anya showed up, and she's here out of the ethers. We created Anya. Welcome. But we're going to start with
Aw.
Randy. Randy, go for it.
Well, then I'm going to keep mine short. I want to hear what this new lady says. But, as I was walking along and you guys were talking about community and Ubuntu, that was a kind of one of my original starts in this business. And I think William as well. And I met Michael Tellinger when he came in here to Calgary and started thinking that way on a piece of property one time. And then, but I was still in that realm of ownership of some property and business and whatnot at the time. Hello. And then when this thing happened, that all of a sudden I said to myself, listen, I'm the creator of credit in the government mind Looniverse system, because every one of us we're the creators of the credit that they give us the privilege of having, all that bullshit story. I just started taking that stuff, and it was like, holy shit, am I ever free? Now what the hell am I going to do? Like you said, William. And I started walking. And last year I clocked it. I put on about 4,300 or 4,400 kilometers. I could have been to the East Coast and halfway back already. I said that to Andrea Grace the other day. I said, shit, if I would have started when this thing started, we could have had a smoked meat sandwich in Manhattan like last November, you know? I could have been halfway home already. But, you know, it's like, but I found so many things in my little city. And I've traveled around the world, guys. Like I've been in China, I've been in Southeast Asia, Europe, only Cuba. I didn't go down to South America yet. But, you know, when you're at home and you just start exploring and walking, not driving, but start walking, holy shit. I mean, this city alone, it covers about, I think I said, was it? Oh shit, I can't remember exactly the square miles of the city, but it's a very large city. It's
Huge.
expansive. Yeah.
Huge. Yeah.
It covers a lot of space. And when I started walking and discovering things, my God, like 400-year-old fir trees. I'm in another fir forest right now that they're younger, they're smaller. I've been to places where there's, you know, a big bare expansive hill, Nose Hill Park, where there's no trees at all, like a few little spruce tree patches here and there. It's just such a beautiful city. And you know, the idea, I guess I'm gonna tidy this up pretty quick here, but the idea of community came in, and how I was mentioning the idea of herding cats this morning, and how humans are not herdable, but the monetary system herded us into cities and squished us in a lot more compact and you know, constricted cities than this one. That's for damn sure. You know, I've been to Hong Kong and Beijing and a few other cities like that are just smashed with people, you know. But the countryside is the same. Like you walk around, and I mean the trees are different in the Philippines compared to here, but you get away from those cities and it's the same. So do we really need to travel all over the world, or do we need to just enjoy where we are and take in the beauty and express it, like Lee was saying, in an artful manner, and a, you know, that feminine, just absorb it and live it for what it is, you know, that kind of stuff. It's beautiful. But I'm going to stop now because I'm excited to hear the new lady. We haven't heard from her. So thank you very much, guys.
I know Anya's been listening quietly in. I saw her poke in and I said, who's that fifth person? And no camera, no audio. And I said, okay, she's being a secret spy right now. But then she showed up and I said, yay, she's here. So I know she knows what we're talking about. So I'm just going to pass it on to her.
Yes, I do. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry for being late, but it's my sister's birthday today.
Oh,
So I was I had this family gathering here, and I was
happy
listening
birthday.
to you. Thank you. And I was trying to do both things at the same time. But I want to say two things quickly, and I want to jump onto what Benjamin was saying about the last part of DNA reconstruction and the body reconstruction. I am not only a witness, but an example of this DNA re-engineering and recovery, because I mentioned on one of the previous videos, I had 20 years ago, I was diagnosed with a muscular disease. And after 4.5 years, I wasn't able to speak, eat, walk, do anything basically. And at some point, I stopped breathing as well. And I went to the other side and I was sent straight back. But, with a new type of knowledge, right? And the moment I woke up, I knew, I mean, the moment I decided to come back, because from the logical point of view, there is no point of coming back to the body that it's not functioning, right? That is completely almost destroyed by a muscular disease, that it's not moving, but I've been told that I have something to do, and now I have a choice. Do you want to come back or not? I'm like, or if you don't come back, you will have to start over because you have some type of emission, however big this sounds. But I'm like, okay, I don't understand that, but okay, let me go back, you know? And the moment I woke up, I knew I'm gonna be fine. And I was on this, I had a respiratory failure and I was on the ventilator. I wasn't able to breathe on my own, but I woke up and I knew that I can breathe on my own. So how can I now tell the doctors I can breathe on my own if I have a tube down my throat, right? So I started to write with them, but they didn't want to believe me, of course, right? But anyways, the new conscience that I came, stop. I'm sorry, that's my sister's dog. Stop. Karina. And I knew I'm gonna be okay. So I started to negotiate with the doctors because I know that my body is recovering and rapidly, and I am basically want to get off the bed. But I'm with all this medical apparatus and this breathing machine, and I'm like, no, I want to get up. I can do that. But this limited belief system, this limited reality that we have, didn't let them believe me, right? So it was a week of a struggle and negotiation with the doctors to get off the machines and to get up from the bed. And from that moment, I started to recover. But then I kind of went back because I wanted to get healthy 100%, and I still have the problem with my voice, and I still can't figure this piece out because I recovered, my body recovered pretty well. I swim, I run, I do anything. But this piece is like, I can't figure this out, right? Stop, sit, sit, sit. So 2 years ago, I got myself into an accident. I went to Poland, where I'm originally from Poland. I live in the US, but I went to Poland for vacation that my dad was organizing. And I got myself, the very first day, I got myself into an accident. So the door smashed my hand. And it was really bad. I had to open the door, having my hand inside, okay? And it was like horrific because I was completely conscious of all the process. I saw the door closing on my hand, and I was completely conscious of myself opening it and then showing it to my dad. And all the journey, because it happened in the middle of the lake. So the rescue had to come get me from the lake.
Jeez.
And I knew it's bad, but all the way to the hospital, I was in my head, working on my hand, working from the inside out. Because I saw my head, I saw my finger. It was smashed. It was completely smashed. But I was working I can't really tell you the process, but I was working like my finger is okay, my hand is okay, everything's gonna be fine. It took some time. I got to the hospital, and the doctor, he didn't want to believe me that I still had the feeling in my finger. But again, a lot of negotiation between me and the doctor to not to amputate this finger, right? Because it was broken into 7 pieces. He didn't, it was an open fracture, blah, 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 horrible. And he was like, okay, if you want, I can put these pieces together, but you'll see, nothing's gonna work out, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, it's gonna work out. Just to prove you guys, I have all the fingers, they all fold, and everything is fine. And they were like, okay, we don't know if you're gonna have the feeling, if we don't have to amputate it later on. I'm like, no, just put it together, I'll do the rest, right? So this is the new technology for our bodies, our mind. And the power that we have, not only to create something outside, like to create the food or create some new technology, but to recover our body from any illness, from any fracture. We can do that. I am the proof. I am the living proof. And it's just the shift in the consciousness that we need to make. It's like the lizards that grow the tails, right? We have the same ability. And just another concept that I want to chip in really quick, apart from the body, that in the layer of potential, everything exists. Everything is already there. So we don't really need to create anything, but we need to learn how to grab it and take it and bring it here. For most people, this is gonna be completely backwards. But if you wanna get familiar with this concept, go and see the movie of Christopher Nolan, Tenet. There is this concept of this backwards, of grabbing things things already happened. And we need to get into the vibration with the things that already happened, okay? Because it's been already created. We just need to catch up, basically, with all the things that have been created already. So that's my thing. That's my that's my chip into today's conversation. Sorry for being late.
Ancient
No.
news.
That was awesome. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Great story.
That's something that we'll carry forward for a long time, and I think will inspire a lot of people. And
I hope so. I hope so.
absolutely, absolutely. I think you kind of even nailed more about what this group is all about. I've heard some readings from Cryon who basically said the same thing, that we have the power in our DNA to create virtually anything. And you're a great example of that already. So that's fantastic. Now, you said that movie was called Tenant, like landlord.
Tenet.
Tenet.
I'm gonna
Tenet.
Tenet.
T-E-N-E-T.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
It's a
And
tenet. It's a tenet. It's a doctrine. It's a tenet. It's one of those new ones. It's brand new. And fascinatingly, Benjamin, coming back to your, Can you? I'll ask a question. Sorry, William. I don't mean to jump in, my friend.
Okay, I just wanted to get the other name of the movie. Benjamin had one too, but we can get that later.
No, Ben.
The Girl from Tomorrow.
Is that the one that with the spray? Was that the future girl?
And that one is The Future Girl, and then Jupiter Rising. Jupiter Rising.
How do I spell that?
Jupiter, right?
Jupiter, and then Rising.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Go ahead, Lee.
Benjamin, can you do me a favor? I don't know how. I'm assuming your native language is better than mine. Can you give me a better or a more full Ubuntu breakdown? What does it mean?
Ubuntu actually is community, like working together. And when they developed the Linux software, okay, Linux, Linux is coming from a lot of, what do you call it, people doing different things, okay?
Different
so
parts.
the patches. So it's all about community. So if you look at the original picture, when the product was launched, the Ubuntu Linux was launched in South Africa, you will see that it's people holding their hands together, okay? That means we can help each other. We can, help keep, going. So it's about togetherness, oneness. That's the concept.
There's a
Together.
See, Mr. Tullinger, I picked up this concept in about 2000 and I'm not sure when he was trying to take down the South African bank.
13.
Way before he was talking about the One Small Village projects. He came up with a Ubuntu construct, and his wording for it is stuck with me ever since. If it's no good for everybody, it's no good for anybody.
So actually, the word Ubuntu actually means I am because you are.
Right.
So we are dependent on each other.
That's the
I
reason
exist
Yeah.
because you are.
Because you exist. Yeah.
Yeah. So
if it's no good for us all, it's no good for any of us.
Yeah.
I am because you are. And
Yeah.
And this concept stuck with me. It's not just the companionship and the rest of it. It was every concept that comes up, is it good for me or is it good for everybody else? And that's that dissemination between the self and the whole, in my ideas. That's my concept. So my base level of construct is Ubuntu. No good for everybody, no good for anybody.
So you can see me. I exist because you can see me.
Yes.
Okay. And you also exist because I can see you. So that is the reality. And it's like the concept of you create your own reality. Okay. So what you see, you create. So because I see you, that is the concept.
That's the avatar. That's the avatar.
Because
I see you.
Because you are.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful concept, right? Because it means that I see you and therefore you are me. And if I don't do something good for you, I'm not doing anything good for me. And that's the inversion of the globalistic, Kabbalistic or capitalistic ideals. It's
mine. It's mine.
It's mine, not yours. Yes. And that's where we're going. That's my future. That's what I see. I can't see going back. What's been seen cannot be unseen. I see you. I see you. I see you and I see you. What's good for me, it's got to be good for you. But again, simplifying it, but not actually making it a lot more complicated, but you can make it simple. Again.
Yeah, absolutely. I thank you, Lee. Thank you, everyone. This has been a great call. I think what excites me the most out of all of this is not about, it's not necessarily about the different things that we can have show up for us, but it's more about the discovery. It's more about the unveiling and the discovering of just what we can create and just how powerful we really are without us ever knowing that before. there's just a whole new level of discovery that awaits us and is at our doorstep right now. It's exciting, and I hope that this video will inspire many others to really start to focus on if I didn't have anything holding me back, what could I create? If nothing was impossible to me, what could I create? What could we create as a planet, as a society, as neighbors, as friends, as human beings, as people from different colors, of people from different planets, for goodness sake. Like Benjamin said, we could travel to other different planets. We can do that. All of that's possible. We just don't believe it's possible right now, some of us. And if we lift off all the veils of what we can't do, who knows what we can? And does anyone else have any last thoughts before we close this down?
I'm good. The beauty is that this is where you start to realize you know nothing but have everything at your fingertips. And that's the excitement and that's the anticipation. What can we do? Not what can't we do? Again, we can come back to the seeing to believe or believing to see. It doesn't matter. But what can we do is the new construct. It's not what's going to hold us back. It's no. What can we do? And what is there for us? And what are we going to use and utilize for all? I think one of the constructs of the breaking down of the boundaries of the planet and stopping people moving stopping people moving around is compartmentalized by our own traumas. We've created these breakdowns for our own safety because of the compartmentalization inside of us. As we open up, the plane opens up. As we get more control over ourselves, we get more community with everybody else. And this is the way it's going to move forward. The compression cycle is going to break the old, the abstract, and decompartmentalize all of those problems and those traumas. Stop blaming each other. We don't need fucking boundaries and walls. What we need is no boundaries and walls. But
how about this as well as an added afterthought or final thought is what about immortality? What about staying young without dying? What about that thought? Can we actually achieve that?
Well, yes, we
Yes.
are. We are already. We just don't know it. That's the thing, right? So, but this is education, and this is for the people, right? So, yes, absolutely. We've been through that indoctrination of this. Now it's the new.
Death is an illusion.
Yeah, man. Let's go back to that. Death is an illusion, as is tax and debt. Let's break them all, and time, and linear time. All illusions.
Yes.
Break them all.
Well, thank you all so much. I'm just
Thank you.
super excited, inspired by this call and all of your contributions. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Anna. That was beautiful. I just wanted to maybe top that off quickly and just mention Anna's comment about not having to create, but just having to reach out and take it. That was brilliant, Anna. I'll take that one home. I love that.
Thank you.
See you guys.
See you.